traditional lands. We recognize this traditional territory to show respect and understanding to those who walk this land since time immemorial. Today, we uphold our ongoing responsibility to work together in the spirit of the intent of the treaties with all the First Peoples and nations that call this place home. The town expresses gratitude for the opportunity to build a better community on these sacred lands for generations to come. And now we will call our regular council meeting for September 16th, 2025 to order. First item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. Council, an update for tonight. At 5 p.m., we have our consultant, Rick Vogel, scheduled to do item 11.1. So wherever we are in the agenda at 5 p.m., we're going to move to item 11.1 in closed session to make that convenient for our consultant. So, Council, are there any additions or deletions to the agenda this evening? Administration, any additions or deletions to the agenda this evening?
No changes.
Thank you, CEO Panasic. Councillor Hawes.
I'd like to adopt the agenda as presented, please.
Thank you, Councillor Hawes. Council, the motion on the floor is the council adopt the agenda as presented. Is there any discussion? Seeing nothing, we'll call the question. It did not come through. I've got it. Excellent. Councillors, please vote now. Councillor Chambers voting in favor by hand. And that motion is carried unanimously. That will take us to section 3 of the agenda, council minutes for adoption. Councillor Race.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to move that we adopt the minutes for a regular council meeting of September 2nd, 2025, and the committee of the whole meeting for September 9th, 2025.
Thank you, Councillor Race. Council, the motion on the floor is that council adopt the meeting minutes from the regular council meeting of September 2nd, 2025, and the committee of the whole meeting of September 9th, 2025. Is there any discussion? Seeing nothing, we'll call the question. Councillors, please vote now. Councillor Race voting in favor by hand. Or sorry, Councillor Chambers voting in favor by hand there. And that motion is carried unanimously. That will take us to section 4, community announcements, and we have no community announcements this week. And section 5, delegations, with item 5.1, the Hinton Disc Golf Delegation, presented by Cody Boyd, Kevin Wallace, and Wyatt Baker. Please step up, gentlemen. By all means, yeah.
Awesome. Hi, guys. My name's Cody. I'm the president of the Hinton Disc Golf Association. This is Kevin Wallace and Wyatt Baker. We'd like to go over first our volunteer achievements this year. Course mulching, Kevin, if you could.
Yeah, I'd be happy to speak to that. Yeah. We had a donated mulcher. My son owned the Arborist Supply Company in Maple Ridge. He made an industrial mulcher available to us for a month. Made excellent use of it. We did a lot of fire smarting, removed a lot of hazards. We had excellent turnout of volunteers. We put in 482.5 total person hours over 4 weeks. And we have one of the best mulched pathways of any of the parks in town, thanks to this. It was great to tune our course up and have so many people come out, lend a hand, even if it was for 1 or 2 hours. It was great. Great comments and feedback for the system that we used. Glad to have it done.
Yeah, making our trailways just so much safer for people as well. I remember when I first started coming to the course, there's routes across all the pathways, and now it's just so much easier for strollers and what have you to get around the course. So yeah. Our annual maintenance, frequent mowing of all the fairways and removal of the deadfall, mowing 17-18 with a rough cut mower and just weed whackers in all the treed fairways. a lot of volunteer hours for that as well. We also sanded and stained all the benches and picnic table at the course. We have a bench on every hole for people. So then just clean up of some of the old dump remnants that were left behind, and just making it a little bit cleaner and yeah, safer that way as well. And this year we added a new red tees. We tried to add a more casual tee section for just new people to try it out, and we just put red rocks for now just to get the feedback from the community and from our membership, just if they liked them, and we can move them around and make a more permanent-ish tee pads for those red tees. Yeah, and we had volunteers who painted all the rocks for us as well. Yeah, for the community, we did the Go Girl conference this year, and we had I think it was about 18 girls come to play, and we showed them around, and we had really good feedback from that. The registration fair we attended, really good. Yeah, went really well. Mondi corporate tournament, they ran a little tournament just for some of their staff and employees, and that turned out really great as well. The memorial signing on hole 13 for Jason Kovacs. He was one of the founding members of the course. He helped build the course. He actually paid for that basket on that hole with his own money. So he ended up passing away, and we made a memorial sign for him on that hole. Then yeah, volunteer recognition day, just donated food from
Domino's and Subway.
Yep.
We're gonna do it October 4th. We'll have a lunch and launch, so it'd be nice to recognize our volunteers.
Yeah. And then we're looking to do like a sponsor shootout as well, like where we invite anyone who sponsored the course to come down and play around with us, and yeah, just show them that we appreciate it. And then the funding and maintenance costs through course sponsorship. Over 75% of the course sponsorships are billed, and it might be a little bit more now. Purchase of used rough cut mower to reduce the volunteer hours, or subbing out that work to contractors to do for us. We revised our sponsorship ask for the course with our gear, just asking a little less and trying to fill up all of them just to get it all filled up and looking good that way. Then our future development, we have plans. When you look at the reviews of the course, we're very highly reviewed, 620 reviews, and we're 4.6 stars out of 5 on our course. But the biggest review is that our tee pads are a little short and not long enough and things like that. So we're looking at ideas to bring them up to a PDGA standard tee pad length and width. Yeah, possibly using the recycled street sweepings or turf, or a combination of both, where we could remove the turf in the winter and play on the street sweepings during the winter, so it's a little bit safer, and then saves our turf from being damaged. Or pavers as well. We're just kind of doing that, and then yeah, this is just a nice closeout photo of our ex-president throwing a disc on 18 there. And that's it for the presentation. If Wyatt wants to go over the financials real quick.
So you guys all have one of these handouts. I just want to kind of go briefly through it, and then at the end, if you guys have any questions, we can kind of get into the specifics. So the $5,150 that we get every year from the town, that goes to our insurance primarily. That's the main thing that keeps that constant. And then it helps to fund a lot of the maintenance costs, whether it's fuel. Yeah, I think the mulcher is a great example. Some of that money went to help with that. But also, as you saw on the other slide, those sponsorships are a big part of what helps, keep all that funded. The $5,000 in the annual capital reserve fund. So that's going to be going towards, Cody mentioned the tee pads. We can kind of get into a little bit of what that long-term looks like, but right now with a focus on safety, we're looking at, increasing size. That it's unfortunately not cheap, but now we've had a few years of that building up. So we have all winter to get things planned and improved. That's kind of the main two things I wanted to go over. Do you guys have any questions around the financials? Love to go over it.
Council? Councillor Haas.
Just 2 questions, actually. Thank you again for the presentation, but the ask this year is the same as what it was last year? Is that what you're,
That's right.
right? Okay, perfect. And then I was curious to ask, more for just, I think, the community's sake, but you said that Mondi had a corporate tournament. So does that mean that they rent the course for a period of time, so there's no one else on the course? Is that something that's new, or is that something you guys have always done?
So we've always kind of had that since it's a town park, that anyone can call into the event and book the course for an event.
Okay.
They just have to kind of book a time slot, and if no one else has it booked, you can kind of reserve it. But at the same time, it's still a town park, so people can kind of come and as they want as well. So.
Okay.
For sure.
And is there a fee to booking that for a large event like that, or is it by donation, or how does that work? And I'm only asking because I think there may be other organizations or other parts that might be interested in it, and I'm just curious, just for information, how that works. So,
I'd definitely have to look into that, but I don't, from the top of my head, I don't think there is a fee to rent or like book it for the weekend. I don't. So,
okay,
I believe they have to go through the events coordinator.
Yeah.
And they make them aware, and then we are made aware.
okay.
So that if there's a large group going out, we can walk the course, make sure it's in great shape.
Yeah,
So
or-
they have an enjoyable time.
yeah, or make sure the fairways have been trimmed or
Yeah.
stuff, so it's not too tall a grass for them.
Good. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
If I can jump in. One thing I meant to cover, new terms. In the draft, I saw the washrooms, or rather that we currently don't have
Mm,
porta potty or anything out there. So with a lot of these community events, that tends to be kind of the feedback we get, right? Is that they have to walk across the road to the bike park, especially if there's like young kids and stuff. It's not really the safest way. You know, to do it.
mhm.
Things like getting some picnic tables that we can move around out there. A porta potty, which the town has put in the draft as they're going to keep it up. I'm not sure if it's something we're gonna buy. I'd imagine that's probably what the intention in the terms is, but then.
We'd be happy to do, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If it's being maintained, that's a huge help for us, cost and just
Mhm.
community wise.
It is definitely one of the biggest, I guess, negative reviews we get is that our amenities aren't up to other courses. And then some people that come from out of town, they don't know that there's one right across the street either, right? So,
Mm, mhm.
you know, that's definitely something we're trying to work towards. So.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Councillor Race.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A few things. I was at the chamber one day and some people came in wanting to play disc golf and they were looking for discs. So, and the chamber had none. So do you have discs within the community?
Yeah, so actually the visitor center, they give out discs for free to
I'm
use.
sorry?
The visitor center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they have a bunch of discs. There is a few places in town that sell them, but yeah, the visitor center is always where, we want to send people if they're just gonna try it out. They're brand new, they can go and they give them a couple different discs.
And also Asante Wealth Management as well has a tote of discs as well that people can use.
Okay, super. So they are in several places in town. Another question I have is your grants and tournaments. Are grants pretty hard to come by? I noticed you have no monies listed.
So one of the things that we're really looking to improve for the next couple of years is that we're gonna buy some trail counters. A lot of these grants, I think we're gonna have a lot more success, just showing how many people are using the course. Right now, we don't really have those metrics where we're out there all the time. We see that there's families, there's the people that are, part of league and they're taking it a little more serious. It's such a wide spectrum. There's even just people walking their dogs out there.
And that's partially why we deferred our ask till 2027, just because we want to get that hard data to have that as well to pitch.
I have just one more question.
Go right ahead.
Do you have data on how many local people are playing disc golf as opposed to how many people off the highway are coming in?
We have 63 paid memberships. That's pretty even split between family and singles. We love the people who buy the memberships, but in no way do they have to. It's a free use park. We've got signage up stating what the membership fees go towards, course maintenance.
Okay.
Being a primary.
Sorry, how much is the membership fee?
Family is $31, single is $29.
And most of those memberships are locals.
Okay, thank you.
And we have a fun sign-in book too that has a lot of people from around the world that come and play our course.
Hmm.
Germany, the United States, all over. Like it's awesome.
Absolutely.
And they always leave a little note in our book, so that's pretty fun.
That's fantastic. Council, anything further for our presenters? All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. The course is looking great, and we appreciate all of the fantastic fire smarting that you're doing out there as well.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, that's going to take us to item 5.2 on our agenda this evening. And we have the Yellowhead Regional Library Board, presented by Hank Smith and Carla Palachik.
Good afternoon, Council, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to come in front of you again. Yes, I am, normally I say I'm Hank from Hinton, but yeah, since I am in Hinton, I'm Hank Smith. So I've been part of this board for, I believe it's 11 years now. And so just to warn you that this is one of my last presentations, and I will not be renewing going further. And that's because of health concerns. And so I have to make sure that that gets fixed before going on. So again, beside me, I have Carla Palachuk. She is the Executive Director of YRL. And today we have a very quick presentation we want to get to you. And since we are on a timer, we're going to get right to it.
So as I was thinking about these presentations, for me and for us at Yellowhead, libraries operate in a space where passion, pressure, and purpose intersect. I should probably change the slide. There we go. It's a role that requires resilience, vision, and an unwavering belief in the transformative power of information services. One of the questions that we ask every day is, how can libraries stay relevant, not just in theory, but in practice? How do we lead confidently in environments where constraints are the norm, yet expectations remain high? Yellowhead exists to provide services to our member libraries so that these libraries can act as the community hub in your municipality in order to remain relevant, to address expectations, and to lead confidently. They can adjust their activities to remain relevant, support through change, and address the needs of your community. We are here to give your library the infrastructure so that the library staff can provide services similar to what they can see in the big city while maintaining your own community's look and feel.
Great, okay. This is my slide. Libraries help to enable access to information and ideas. All these things should be very relevant to this council to begin with, as these are definitely aspects that are actually in their plan of service as well. And so again, we want to make sure that we are also help supporting that. We at YRL like to work in the background behind libraries, and that's where we do our best work. So you see our vans every once in a while delivering, but you don't see what we really do other than support the local board as well as the local library. Okay, next slide, please.
Mm-hmm.
Libraries are essential to sustain the local economic development. These are all things you all know already as well, being part of course, the library's mandate as well. So I'll move on to your slide now.
So we are at the last quarter of the last year of a 3-year strategic plan. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about our accomplishments just because we're getting geared up for our next plan. However, what we've been focusing on over the last 3 years has been around learning and connection for our staff and for our member libraries. This includes training and conferences and information on how to remain cyber secure and how to address all of those issues. We ensure quality information and resources. Right now, when I got into the office, there were 3 books ordered from one library via Amazon that are actually generated by AI. So we can catch those, talk to the library director about them, make a decision about what they were trying to order versus what they got. And so we act as that quality information gatekeeper. We will share information and skills, mostly through training, our own knowledge and our own staff's knowledge with how libraries work and function and how to write policy, how to do performance appraisals, how to do a budget. Everything that they can think of, we will find a way to support. And the board also concentrates on being an excellent place to work. And the board has been able to maintain our certification as a living wage employer. Like everybody else, there are issues and pressures that face regional library systems and libraries. And these can be described as the volatility that we're seeing inside of the economy, tariffs, are there tariffs on books? What cost increases are we seeing, particularly on network and computer equipment? We address these by sourcing new suppliers, leveraging our partnerships, doing as many bulk purchases as we possibly can. And the board now is talking about what the levy rate for Yellowhead should be moving forward. We face uncertainty. Like everybody else in municipalities, there are new elections coming up. And for me in particular, with Hank stepping down as chair, that is also bringing a boatload of uncertainty because he has been such a visible and strong presence, not just for Yellowhead, but for Hinton. As he said, he keeps on introducing himself as Hank from Hinton. Everybody in the province knows him as Hank from Hinton. So he has served the council well as your representative. He has served the library board exceptionally well as the representative to Yellowhead, and his contribution to the provincial library scene cannot be overstated. So we are going to be dealing with how are we going to move forward with a different Hank. We have other changes, technology, cybersecurity threats. Calgary Public Library has been attacked. Toronto Public, the National British Museum, British Library. We turned away on our last long weekend for brute force attacks, and nothing got through. So we are doing what we need to do to manage anything that that could put our data or our staff at risk. And then, of course, we have ambiguity because we can never predict everything. So we do a lot of future thinking, a lot of future development, a lot of what ifs and scenario planning. And then we share this with the libraries, with our members, and with our board. Is this you? So how do we support our local libraries and your municipality in particular? We do this through the ordering, the purchasing, the technology. I believe there's slightly over $10,000 worth of new computer equipment and networking equipment that will be coming into the library that is paid for and insured by Yellowhead. And that is to make sure that the network remains secure. Training and support to staff. We had a meeting on Friday. We did management leadership skill development on Friday. Today, we did some truth and reconciliation workshops. All of these are free for the library managers or staff to participate in. And some of our highlight numbers from 2024, the one I'd like to point out right now is 1.917 items. We moved 1.9 million items out of our building in Spruce Grove to our member libraries. If anybody says that print is dead, print is not dead. We were hoping to hit 2 million last year, but we had some libraries that were closed due to the wildfire action in through this area that impacted ordering. We also had some libraries that were waiting to open up new locations, so held back on ordering until this year. So we are positive we're going to be well over 2 million items this year. And I am pretty positive it might be a Western paperback going up to Neerlandia, but I could be wrong. We might run a contest. So our 2025 priorities are a continuation right now, cybersecurity and the public access computers for the local libraries. That was our major scary point, was the public access computers. So Yellowhead is taking over maintenance and observation and control of those. There's well over 900 machines in our province, in our region alone. So we have a lot. 2-minute warning.
2-minute warning.
And then upgrading our track software. We did provide, I'm just going to keep continuing.
Yeah.
We did provide a sheet with our current levy rates in there. We did have an 11-year freeze for 2026. We're proposing a 10-cent per capita increase, moving up to $4.85 per capita. Our board won't pass the budget until December. So right now this is proposed, but it got through the first 2 readings. Out of this amount, we provide back 75 cents per capita to your library for purchasing of library materials. I think.
Yeah, this I have to tell you about the discussions we're having right now, and that is, as you can tell, with 11 years that we didn't do anything. That left us behind the ball. Our nearest rivals, being Parkland Regional Library System, charges more than double that we do through theirs. And for us right now, we have two streams of money. One is from memberships from councils like yourself. The other one is also from municipal affairs, and they pay. Municipal affairs deals with our administration side, and anything to do with service side comes from the members of YRL pay for. And so right now we're dipping into the how can I say, the administration side by about 13%, when it should be at about a 50-50 split. And so what does this mean? It means that we should be about 85 cents per capita higher. And so there's been discussions at a high level. Nothing has been done yet, as this year and last year, we're definitely using some of our reserves to cover the deficiencies in funds that we do have. And but again, reserves have a limit to them. And so we need to either cut services or increase levy rates. And so again, those discussions are going to be held by someone else other than myself, but it's pretty good. So just to be warned that we're not sure if there's going to be if it's going to be a three-year process or a 1-year process. Okay.
And that's our 10 minutes. Can I ask how much more time do you think you need to finish off the presentation here?
Actually, one.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Perfect.
Because all I needed to say on this one is a library is not just background scenery. A library is a frontline community partner, a collaborator, a guide for research, and a bridge between data and discovery. In a world flooded with information, libraries can help people think critically because access alone is not enough. We need understanding to empower people, and that requires staff in your libraries who have the training and the support to do the best work they can.
All right. Thank you very much. And we'll go to council for any questions. Councillor Haas.
Great, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. I want to jump to the Hinton Municipal Library slide there. And I just wanted to highlight the cost avoidance. And if you could speak to that a little bit of where, that 747,000, I see where it goes to, but is that yearly or how does that play out, just that number?
We calculate this at the end of every year because
Okay.
it does change. So for 2024, that amount is made up by $17,000 worth of technology. Avoidance, that's website support because we do the websites.
Great.
Software and licensing like Microsoft Office, all the cybersecurity stuff, password keepers, that kind of thing. And the SuperNet costs and the network fees. So that is $17,000. For the bulk of it really is the items that are borrowed either digitally or from another library. If you had to purchase those items to meet the reading needs of your community, you would be spending about $712,000 every year over and above what the library is already doing. So typically that's about 10 times a yearly collections budget for any one library. So your community is using 10 times what your library can afford to purchase. And the only reason they can do that is because we offset those costs. So we pay for the digital license subscriptions, and that costs me almost $300,000 a year. We are restricted by publishing and by the vendors about what we can buy and how much it costs. So a popular book right now on e-audio can cost us up to $800 per copy. So when you look at those wait lists, it starts to make sense. We don't have enough money to support everything, but we are leveraging every partnership we possibly can to make sure that access is available. So that's the bulk of it, is how do we help you avoid costs and having your community saying, how come you don't have the most latest James Patterson novel in 12 copies? Because we get those for you.
Okay, if I may, thank you. I had no idea, what the back end cost was to that. I mean, I know what our operational cost is per year and, but to know that it's almost double what ours is, that's, so I appreciate that. And I think it's important our citizens realize that as well, the benefit that YRL brings to our community. So thank you for that. So
If I may add something, if you were to try to do this alone, you would be anticipated to pay about $65 per capita of new money every year, in addition to what you were already paying Yellowhead and the library board.
Mhm,
And you would get less service for it.
mhm.
That would just provide basic frontline print, no digital, no anything else. So this is expensive, which is why we are leveraging all the partnerships we can.
Well, if I may, I can speak to, being on the library board, a representative on the board, the training that you offer both to boards and also to our staff has been extremely helpful. We went through an exercise a while back with your assistance as well, going through, our systems and seeing what we can improve on. So, YRL has been a great asset to our staff and to our community. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
The library staff and board took advantage of 33 hours of training that we provided for a cost avoidance of almost $2,000. So that's something that we pay for. That's not brought back to the staff or the board at all.
Thank you, Councillor Hawes. Councillor Race.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So exactly how much money, what is your ask going to be of the town?
For
next year, it's 485.
I'm sorry?
For next year, 2026, it's 485 per capita. Okay, but again, the years following that is when we're in the crunch. And so that's why I said next year, after next year, so 2027, 28, there's going to be a change. Okay, so just to be warned that we are in discussions right now. What that means is that we're opening up our master membership agreement. The master membership agreement is not signed by the library board, it's actually signed by councils. Okay, and so and when we open that up, you guys have a say into what we'd like to do within it. Okay, and so trying to herd 54 member municipalities all at the same time, yeah, that's going to be some trouble. And so last time this happened, I was told that it took 3 years to get it done. And we are really hoping that does not repeat itself.
I'll wrap this up really quickly. Shannon, thank you for everything that you do with the library. Thank Hank. And thank you too. And Carla, I have to agree with you. When I go away to conferences, when I go to Alberta Muni and people find out I'm from Hinton, they come to me and say, do you know Hank? Well, of course I know Hank. Hank, people speak so highly of you. And you are such a great ambassador, you represent our town. I will miss you. And I'm sure other people will too. So thank you.
Ditto for you, Joanne.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Race. Council, is there anything further for our presenters today? Well, thank you very much for the presentation. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, Council, that's going to take us to section 6 on our agenda this evening. And item 6.1 is the joint use planning agreement with Grand Yellowhead Public School Division. And this is going to CAO Panasic.
Thank you, Mayor, through to the rest of council. So we have discussed this at the previous committee of the whole meeting where a motion was made to bring forward to the next regular council as presented. Since that time, we have been in touch with the Grand Yellowhead Public School Division. We have confirmed that they are happy, at least administratively, with the agreement. And they had no other further changes. So this agreement that you have is exactly the same one that was presented at committee. Assuming that the agreement will be passed today by council, the Grand Yellowhead Public School Division is prepared to take it to their board shortly after hearing word. This proposed JUPA agreement really has a few major changes from the previous 2011 version, as set minimums for weekend and weekday community use of facilities. We have established a list of municipal and school facilities along with the times available for use. There's new operating guidelines to ensure community use of school facilities is accessible to the public, and set processes and responsibilities related to acquiring and servicing of school sites. We have also, as a town, taken on the role of booking and programming for recreation on behalf of community members, while still allowing for the organized groups to pursue exclusive bookings through the school division. So if there are any questions about this agreement, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you, CEO Panasic. Councillor Hawes.
Thank you. I'd like to make the recommended action that council approves the Town of Hinton and Grand Yellowhead School Division Joint Use Planning Agreement as presented.
Thank you, Councillor Hawes. Council, the motion on the floor is that council approve the Town of Hinton and Grand Yellowhead School Division Joint Use Planning Agreement as presented. Is there any discussion? Seeing nothing, we'll call the question. Councillors, please vote now. Councillor Chambers voting in favor by hand. And that motion is carried unanimously. Council, is there anything further for item 6.1 on the agenda this evening? I'd just like to say thank you to administration. I know that was a multi-year process to get that JUPA updated, and I'm glad to see it moving forward. Good news for our community. We'll move on to item 6.2, rescind motion, LOB and partner report. And that's going back to the CEO Panasic.
Thank you, Mayor, through to the rest of council. So we are recommending that council rescind motion RC 240-521.11. And this was to direct administration to return a report to a committee of the whole exploring strategic options and high-level budgetary impacts related to options 4 or 5 outlined in the LOB and Partners report. This report was done at a time when we were looking at a development at the golf course and a very specific location. And how are we going to look at a reconfiguration of that course in order to accommodate this development? That development is not proceeding. So we don't think that this motion carries or is relevant anymore. So we are just recommending for this motion to be rescinded as a matter of administrative housekeeping.
Thank you, CEO Panasic. Councillor Race.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to take the recommended action and move that council rescind motion RC 240-521.11, that council direct administration to return a report to the committee of the whole meeting exploring strategic options and high-level budgetary impacts related to options 5 and 6 as outlined in the LOB and Partners report. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Councillor Race. Council, the motion on the floor is the council rescind motion RC 240-521.11. The council direct administration to return a report to a committee of the whole meeting exploring strategic options and high-level budgetary impacts related to options 5 and 6 as outlined in the LOB and Partners report. Councillor Hawes.
Thank you. I will be in favor of this. I just have a quick question on the report itself. When the report was made, of course, it was specific to the proposed project, but is there value to this report moving forward for any other reasons potentially? Because there was a value to it, a cost value to it. So any comment by administration on that?
CEO Panasic.
Thank you. Through the mayor to the rest of council. Yeah, I do still think that there's some value to this report. We will not be throwing it away by any means. I think there's a lot of good ideas and a lot of good insights when it comes to our golf course, when it comes to safety zones, the different options that could be available to us. There are some specific plans related to the particular location that was under consideration in previous years. But, we do believe that some of the ideas are can be applied regardless. So, we'll keep this, we'll keep this handy. And if we are looking at anything in the future, then this will be a relevant document to reference.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Hawes. Council, the motion on the floor is that council rescind motion RC.240-521.11, that council direct administration to return a report to a committee of the whole meeting exploring strategic options and high-level budgetary impacts related to options 5 and 6 as outlined in the LOB and Partners report. Council, is there any further discussion? Seeing nothing, we'll call the question. Councillors, please vote now. Councillor Chambers voting in favor by hand. And that motion is carried unanimously. Council, is there anything further for item 6.2 on the agenda? Seeing nothing, we'll move to item 6.3, land use bylaw amendment number 1088 TAC 26. And that is going to Director McLaughlin.
Through the mayor, we'll actually refer that to Ms. Walker.
Oh,
who's
to Miss
here. Yeah.
Walker then.
Thank you, Mayor, through to council. Council at their last meeting of July 22nd made a motion for administration to incorporate revisions to the land use bylaw as outlined in the InvizTech report. The report suggested amendments for implementing planning regulations around non-principal short-term rentals. In addition to this, administration has brought forward additional housekeeping edits as shown on the attachment of this report. This bylaw this evening is for first reading only and is a required step as per the Municipal Government Act to initiate advertising for a public hearing and to obtain public feedback on the rezoning. Administration recommends bylaw amendment 1088-26 receive first reading this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Walker. Council? Councillor Haas.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to move the council give use by first reading and the council direct administration to schedule a public hearing on October 28th, 2025 at 4 p.m. in council chambers to hear public comments on bylaw number 1088-26.
Thank you, Councillor Haas. Council, the motion on the floor is the council give land use bylaw number 1088 TAC 26 first reading and the council direct administration to schedule a public hearing on October 28, 2025 at 4 p.m. in council chambers to hear public comments on bylaw number 1088 TAC 26. Councillor Race.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In regards to 2-32, notice of decision, because we don't have a newspaper anymore, the decisions will be posted on Hinton's website. What about people who don't subscribe to Hinton's website? How will you get that information to them?
Openasek. Ms. Walker.
Thank you, Mayor, through to Councillor Ray. So we do have a public participation bylaw that also regulates this. And so we have a multitude of different avenues that we have the option to post in. Certainly website, but even prior to to the newspaper, we had come out with that public participation bylaw to make sure that we had a whole bunch of options for different avenues for advertising, not only this, but all sorts of different topics.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So would an example be a hand-delivered letter, or can you give me some of the options?
Through the mayor to members of council, it could be all sorts of things. I mean, we have built in the that metric when it looks to how intensely do we engage on different things, and we look at each topic individually to determine how how far we want to go with communications and how much we want to look at engagement on different topics based on a number of different factors that we outline through policy. But I would say that for this item itself, there's no specific change to planning regulation. So I don't imagine that it'll be a very intense public participation process, just because we have not set regulations necessarily for STRs. But what we've done is we've built the pathway ahead of time. So if we do decide to regulate this from a planning perspective in the future, we've already built in the use and we've recognized the unique nature of short-term rentals, but we haven't set those and applied them to specific land uses yet.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Councillor Race. Council, the motion on the floor is the council give land use bylaw number 1088 TAC 26 first reading and the council direct administration to schedule a public hearing on October 28, 2025 at 4 p.m. in council chambers to hear public comments on bylaw number 1088 TAC 26. Council, is there any further discussion? Seeing nothing, we'll call the question. Councillors, please vote now. That motion is carried unanimously. Councillor Haas.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to build off a little bit of what Councillor Race was speaking to, with the loss of a local paper, our only, written word out there to our community, I think it's really important people to really consider, taking a look at how to get set up with Civic Send and get that information, because it is the way that things are progressing that, getting a written somehow in the community is pretty much non-existent at this time, to be honest with you. So, if it's not that way, then by Facebook, via Facebook. So I really encourage people, if you're not sure how to do that, I'm sure you could talk to a family member, someone that can help you get set up on that, and you'll get emails that will fill you in on what's coming up in the community business as well. So just want to encourage people to consider that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hawes. Council, is there anything further for item 6.3 on the agenda this evening? Seeing nothing, we'll move. Oh, C.A. Panasic.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, if I could, and just maybe in response to Councillor Hawes's point, but I know our comms team is looking at, with the newspaper being gone, we had good statistics on the amount of usage of it. And we are looking at other maybe physical print options that might be available. So I know the comms team is working on, what that next phase of written or physical communication might look like. And we're looking at those different options now. So thank you.
Thank you, C.A. Panasic. We'll move on to item 6.4 on the agenda this evening, cooperative housing industry focus. And this is going to Director Russo.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. This report that you have before you emanates from our CAO's office in response to industry that has heard and that has been talking about their housing needs. And as a result of that, this has come forward with we thinking it's important that we do it so that we can address to see what that industry need is. If we go back to the motion that was made back on August the 12th, it does speak about interested parties. That doesn't preclude others in the community. So where this drives is that it's got an industry focus, not neglecting to know that the other parties will also be included as we go forward with FAQs, as well as a survey that we're preparing here towards the end of the month, early October. So I just wanted to put that into perspective. The other part of importance is that, just for clarity on the report, we kind of interact between two different terms. One is a co-op steering committee and the one says a working group. That should be a co-op steering committee. The other point of clarity that I want to make you this afternoon is that where we say mayor council in the recommended action, it's probably best referred to as elected officials. So with that background set, why we're here this afternoon is to ask from council that we look at a temporary steering committee to be formed, as well as providing administrative support so that we could have an industry focused conversation. And that temporary, we call it temporary because it may not yield the desired outcomes in terms of the true need, the collaboration, and what that housing need is. If there is traction, then that steering committee will then be able to make recommendations and fast track. In conjunction with that, not that we want to get ahead of ourselves, the feds are going to be putting out funding pretty soon once their budget is stabled. And that may hold enough information regarding how funding can be structured and whether this type of arrangement with industry can qualify for that co-op housing as a focus. So with that, I will hand it back to council for any questions.
Thank you, Director Russo. Councillor Hawes.
No, I don't have any questions. I think this is, a great opportunity to engage the industry in our community and see how we can assist, knowing that we can't create a co-op ourselves, but at least to get some traction with that. So I'd like to make the recommended action. The council agree to provide support for a temporary industry focused co-op steering committee by providing administrative support, and agree to nominate either mayor or council as indicated in the cooperative housing industrial focus report. And if I can have one question in regards to this, is this something that it immediately needs with our election coming fairly soon? Is this something that could be put together fairly soon, or is this something that would be put off until after the election? Just not knowing who those parties will be part of, as mayor or councillor.
Director
If I
Russo?
may, and the CEO can build on this. We have names of industry leaders that have been contacting the town through the CEO's office.
Okay.
So it is, what is going to happen is we'll get the conversation going to likely an advanced stage of understanding what the temperature and interest is. This will, of course, then transcend into the next council. So it'll be good groundwork that we're doing right now, because the opportunity is there where they want to talk to us, realizing that their timelines may still be maybe more than 18 months out, but it's good to start the groundwork. Also, as I said, there's the granting that will be coming in the fall that the feds would be announcing. Could that granting dovetail with this idea? Then we are sort of shovel ready.
Perfect.
Thank you, Director Russo. Thank you, Councillor Hawes. Councillor Race?
Thank you, sir. Does that federal money filter down to the province and then we would get it from there? How does that work?
Director Russo?
Sure. The way I'm familiar with it, and it could change with the sort of new prime minister, how he sees that happening. That's going to go to CMHC, who's going to be the custodians of the funding that would come to Western Canada, and then we will have to apply for it. From past experience, what I know is that when they announce it in the fall, that deadline is then put by early December, by the 10th, the 11th, that you need to be submitting, not getting ready. And then you get that funding approved here by maybe late March, mid-April.
And when you say shovel ready, that means the utilities are there. We are ready to go.
Yeah, we can start turning dirt basically, and we can start the design of those units, whether it's prefab or whether it's going to be on-site construction, all those things we would have kind of, as we would say, the structure in place of the straw man to do that. Yeah.
And just one more quickly. Do you ever get a hold of FCM and just in Ottawa, just get a feel for what the buzz is that they're there?
Yeah. Through the chair again to Councillor Race. FCM is, of course, very closely tied to the president's office or the prime minister's office. They know what's happening, the pulse. If we go back, there's been a recent conversation had with the Minister of Infrastructure, as well as FCM's president herself. And they've talked about being ready. The exact question you've asked is that they're aligning themselves. They have already started talking to the infrastructure manager, the federal one. They've already been at the prime minister's office and wanting to know what is this going to mimic, what is it going to look like, how quickly you're going to roll it out, and what are we needing so that our municipalities can prepare themselves for this.
Good. Thank you for all that info. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Race. Councillor Chambers?
Thank you through the chair. I'm happy to support this steering committee. I think it's a wise thing to get rolling. It sounds like, I know there's even been some recent announcements with even Build Canada versus the traditional CMHC model. It kind of remains to be seen what comes up, but I think it's a good idea for us to really be looking ahead, bringing in industry. I don't necessarily feel that this is all going to should be shouldered by the municipality, but there's certainly industry partners that should be at the table to talk about some of this. And I think it's wise on our behalf to be getting ahead of some of these conversations and moving forward. So very happy to support it and glad to see this on the agenda this evening.
Thank you, Councillor Chambers. Council, the motion on the floor is that council agree to provide support for a temporary industry-focused co-op steering committee by providing administrative support and agree to nominate an elected official as indicated in the Cooperative Housing Industry Focus Report. If we could see that language up on the screen there, Secretary, just. If we could change the in bracketed portion to an elected official rather than mayor/councillor. And Councillor Hawes, just to confirm you're okay with that wording? Fantastic. An elected official, please. Thank you. Councillor Race.
Thank you, sir. So to me, looking at that, that means one person off council. Would you, as the mayor, still be sitting on that?
It would be up to council at that point.
Okay, so mayor and then a nominated official or just one?
With this, the way it is worded, my understanding would be we would, as a council, assign one elected official to a steering committee. So myself or a counselor.
And if that person was not able to attend,
We would do an alternate like we do
okay, good.
generally, I imagine.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Race. So council, the motion on the floor is the council agreed to provide support for a temporary industry-focused co-op steering committee by providing administrative support and agreed to nominate an elected official as indicated in the Cooperative Housing Industry Focus Report. Is there any further discussion from council? Seeing nothing, we'll call the question. Councillors, please vote now. And that motion is carried unanimously. Now, in addition to this item, council has expressed an interest in moving these housing files forward. And on Sunday of this weekend, the federal government made a number of announcements around the Build Canada Homes program. That includes the creation of a Build Canada Homes organization, along with Housing Infrastructure and Communities Canada. And these two organizations are going to be setting up an engagement office for municipalities just like us to engage and show our interest in working with these programs. I feel that on this file, there is room for a council motion that would authorize or direct our administration to start engaging with Build Canada Homes and Housing Infrastructure and Communities Canada as those get built out. If council were interested in that today. If not, I'm sure that's something that we can do in the future. But I will go to Councillor Hawes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think for, I guess, time purposes, being as how we've now stated a steering committee is moving forward, I'd like to make a motion to that the elected official the mayor be appointed to the steering committee. I think just for speediness and not having to wait for another regular. And I would just, as an alternate would be, if you're unable to, then it would be the deputy mayor would be an alternate position. So I'd like to make the motion that we appoint the mayor to the co-op steering committee with the deputy mayor as alternate.
Thank you, Councillor Hawes. If we can get that up on the screen when you have a chance there, Secretary.
And if I may,
You can go right ahead.
to it. The reason I said the deputy mayor is because we are getting on the cusp of an election. Then it's whoever at the time would be the deputy mayor would be the alternate. I think that would then cover, because then we wouldn't have to go through this again to find an alternate for the new council. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hawes. Council, the motion on the floor is the council direct administration to appoint the mayor to the Co-op Housing Steering Committee with the deputy mayor as the alternate. Is there any discussion? Seeing nothing, we'll call the question. Councillors, please vote now. And that motion is carried unanimously. Council, is there anything further for item 6.4 on the agenda this evening? Councillor Chambers.
I might need a little bit of help, but I would like to make the motion as discussed previously regarding directing administration to pursue, I don't know if the word is maybe pursue opportunities within the federal government announcements with Build Canada as set out by municipalities. Something to that effect. I'm open to friendly amendments, but I don't know if that moves things ahead. I think it's quite important that we get on this as soon as possible and move that ahead. So I'm not sure if there's other key wording that maybe I need to put into the motion, but I'd certainly like to see administration move ahead on that as rapidly as possible.
Excellent. And if I can suggest some language, it would be engage Build Canada Homes and Housing Infrastructure and Communities Canada, as the announcements have been made.
That's wonderful. Thank you for the help.
Engaging. Yeah. The council direct administration to pursue engaging Build Canada Homes and Housing, Infrastructure, and Communities Canada. Councillor Chambers, does that wording work for you?
I can't see it, but what you said, maybe just read it one more time, if you don't mind.
Yeah, it's that council direct administration to pursue engaging Build Canada Homes and Housing Infrastructure and Communities Canada.
That sounds good
Thank
to me.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Councillor Chambers. And CEO Panasic, does that wording work for you and meet intent?
It does.
Thank you, CEO Panasic. So council, the motion on the floor is that council direct administration to pursue engaging Build Canada Homes and Housing Infrastructure and Communities Canada. Is there any discussion? Seeing nothing, we'll call the question. Councillors, please vote now. And that motion is carried unanimously. Council, is there anything further for item 6.4 on the agenda this evening? Seeing nothing, we are recognizing that it is the 5 o'clock time, and we are going to look to move into closed session for section 11. We will come back out for section 7, 8, 9, and 10. Councillor Haas.
I'd like to make a motion, we go into closed session.
Thank you, Councillor Haas. Council, the motion on the floor is that council move into closed session at 5:02 p.m. And councillors, please vote now. And that motion is carried unanimously, and we are in closed session. Thank you, everybody.
Are we gonna stay in here?
We're going to go next door. We're set up for
Oh, okay.
Rick in there.
Okay.
So those of you online, just stand by while we move over into the next room. Yes.
Testing, testing, testing. Testing, testing. Is that one turning to me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But it's not coming on your main screen here.
Whenever you're ready. And we are continuing with our regular council meeting for September 16th, 2025. We've just come out of closed session where we've dealt with item 11.1. We are moving back to section 7 of our agenda, correspondence. Councillor Haas.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to move that we accept correspondence for information.
Thank you, Councillor Haas. Council, the motion on the floor is that council accept the correspondence package for information. Is there any discussion? Seeing nothing, we'll call the question. Councillors, please
Mr.
vote
Mayor?
now. We got Councillor Magoon.
Sorry, I apologize. Just a question for the CAO or administration in general regarding the pickleball court correspondence. Does administration have any updates or information for council to consider? Is this a similar concern as to what sort of happened down at Erie College at the tennis courts there? Any info would be appreciated.
CEO Panasic?
Yeah, through the mayor, I believe Mr. Murphy can provide that answer.
Oh, Director Murphy.
Through the mayor to Councillor Magoon, thank you for the question. Yes, since that initial correspondence was received, I've been personally in contact with that person to obtain some additional details as to the state of the courts. The concerns brought forward were the cracks on the surface of the court and how that's impacting their ability to play pickleball. And my research into the matter, I was able to determine, as per the email correspondence, that in 2019 they did do a significant resurfacing. However, at that point in time, it was identified that the submaterial underneath the surface, until that was completely replaced, we will continue to be dealing with cracks on a yearly basis. So what's been transpiring and the level of service that has been set to this day is that yearly this is assessed. The Parks and Rec are continually monitoring, and attempts are made to fill the cracks as best as they can so that it's not a safety concern and the users are able to utilize the court. To ultimately deal with the situation on a more permanent basis, that would require some significant work on both those outdoor courts. And at this point in time, I know it's not set for capital reinvestment until approximately 2035. However, depending on how things transpire in the coming years, that could be up for further conversation as to what that looks like. So, Councillor Magoon, to your question, we'll continue to communicate with the person that brought those concerns forward. We will work with them to come up with solutions as best we can within the current budget that we have to make sure that our users are able to continually operate and utilize these courts, because I know there's a lot of people that are utilizing these pickleball courts.
Great, much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Magoon. Thank you, Director Murphy. Council, the motion on the floor is that council accept the correspondence for information. Is there any further discussion? Seeing nothing, we'll call the question. Councillors, please vote now. That motion is carried unanimously. That will take us to section 8 of our agenda this evening, information items. And we have a proclamation this evening for Wrongful Conviction Day, October 2nd, 2025. Whereas the loss of one's freedom due to a wrongful conviction has far-reaching and devastating consequences which not only affect the innocent individual's life, but also affect the quality of life of their families and has a harmful effect on society as a whole. And whereas wrongful convictions question the integrity and fairness of the criminal justice system, and unless corrected, undermine society's trust in their criminal justice system. And whereas Wrongful Conviction Day is a global movement dedicated to advocating for innocent individuals who have been wrongfully or wrongly convicted of a crime they did not commit, the implementation and recognition of this day is the start to reaching a broader audience regarding the importance surrounding miscarriages of justice. A proclamation will assist to advocate, educate, and create awareness around those miscarriages of justice in hope for reform to minimize the effect it could have on another individual. Now, therefore, on behalf of Council, I, Nicholas Nissen, Mayor of the Town of Hinton, do hereby proclaim October 2nd, 2025 as Wrongful Conviction Day. And that will take us to section 9 of our agenda this evening, notices of motion. CEO Panasic, do you have a notice of motion to read into the minutes?
Yes, through the mayor, we do have a notice of motion from Mayor Nissen that council directs administration to investigate options to diversify delivery of Hinton Listens public responses and bring a report to a future committee of the whole.
Thank you, CEO Panasic. That will take us to section 10 of our agenda this evening, reporting. And before I go to council reports, I'd just like to commend administration and everybody involved in the Recreation Center ammonia leak response last week. It's been out there in the community a little bit, but I really wanted to say great work. The reality was the monitoring system functioned, the emergency procedures worked, everybody got out, there were no injuries. It was a mechanical failure on an old system that we are replacing next year. But the reality is great response. We tested our mutual aid agreement with Mondi. We didn't even lose our ice. Fantastic work on everyone's part at administration for that. So thank you very much. And for reporting, let's go to council reports. We'll start with Councillor Hawes.
I have nothing to report.
Thank you, Councillor Hawes. Councillor Race? Thank you, Councillor Race. Councillor Chambers?
Thank you. I just was able to pop in briefly at the fall fair that was happening at the Hinton Community Gardens. It was very well attended, very well put together, and was really nice to see kind of a diverse group of people. They had some live music and silent auction and some great donation of a painted bicycle from Apex did the work on the bicycle that they were raffling off in their different things. So yeah, it was just a nice event, kind of kick off the fall months. So other than that, I don't have anything to report.
Thank you, Councillor Chambers. Councillor Magoon.
Nothing to report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Magoon. And for myself, for reporting, I was able to attend the Forest Resource Advisory Committee meeting last night down at West Fraser, and they presented the CHFR, the Community Hazardous Fuels Reduction Program. The council received a briefing on in closed session a couple weeks ago. So that information is going out to the public, and there will be a public information session on the Chafer program on October 8th at the Hinton Centre. I've also last week attended the ARCH, the Attraction and Retention Committee of Hinton Strategic Planning session. Now, this is a committee that is supported by council, and I did go as the alternate. This committee has had a number of successes in terms of advertising our community, getting the word out, and really making our community a great place for locums and visiting physicians. They're really starting to work here, and I think we're going to manage to turn the tide in our healthcare system with a large help from ARCH. So very happy with the work happening there on that committee. And then additionally for councillors, just so you're aware, tomorrow there is a chamber luncheon happening up at the golf course, and the topic of presentation is going to be our recreation center plebiscite. So that is happening. And that is all I have for reporting today. CO Panasic reporting.
Thank you, Mayor. Nothing to report.
Thank you, CO Panasic. Council, if there's nothing further for the CAO or reporting, we'll move to section 12 of our agenda this evening. Councillor Hawes.
I move to adjourn.
Thank you, Councillor Hawes. Council, the motion on the floor is that council adjourn at 5:50 p.m. And as soon as that up, we'll call the question. And we will call the question. Councillors, please vote now. And that motion is carried unanimously. Thank you, everybody. We are adjourned. For our two councillors online, if you could stay on for just a moment, that'd be great. Yeah, we'll keep them on if you want, and then